I love this.
All right, let's go.
Did you see his decks?
I was gonna say the same thing. The colors?
No,
they're all
three of them have the
going
picture.
to Dusk.
Not only do all three of them have the name Unto Dusk, he has gotten the picture as Unto Dusk on all three of them. And we're going to see Nightfall starting off against TF Aphelios.
I love it. I love it. All right, here we go, baby. All right. So, I mean, Unto Dusk, maybe Dyna's onto something, right? Maybe this is the card to abuse the format, right? Like, I'm not going to lie. When I saw it come out, like that and Ruinous Path, those were the two cards that I thought, all right, maybe Nightfall aggro gets a boost, and maybe some sort of spell-based aggro, you know, Noxus Shurima gets a boost, right? And they definitely are a thing. Problem is, they just don't seem to be that great of a thing yet. But hey, maybe Dyna is going to be able to show us otherwise. Clearly, Dyna is onto something, and clearly Dyna thinks that a 3 aggro lineup is the way to go. And goddamn, is that my favorite card, Stygian Onlooker. Is this whole deck prismaticized?
I don't think that Flight is prismaticized.
Wait, hold on. He's hovering. Give it a sec. Are you sure? Flight just looks...
No.
I mean, Flight just looks sparkly, I guess, too, so... All right, let's see what DragonWrath... Nope, Flight is not prismaticized.
There's also one thing I wanted to bring up. And this is going to be a bit of a stretch. You're going to have to use your imaginations to follow me along down this path, so bear with me here.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you had mentioned, has Dyna found the way to beat the meta? Dyna lost round 1. Dyna's lineup that he lost to was Twisted Fate Fizz, Shen Fiora, and what we've kind of dubbed Slow Nightfall.
Mm-hmm.
The Aphelios Diana, it plays like... it's not Invoke, it doesn't necessarily run, Mountain Scryer and things like that. It's playing like Atrocity, Unto Dusk, Doom Beast, things like that. And that is sort of, for the most part, a standard lineup. It's TFS, it's Shen Fiora, and it is an Aphelios Temple deck for all intents and purposes. So Dyna has already fallen to the lineup earlier in the day. Probably going to have a better chance against this one, but it looks like the idea of picking on TFS didn't work out. And now you don't even have the TFS to try and pick on.
All right, and confirmation, just so that everybody knows, we did get an announcement a little bit earlier from the TO. We are going to be doing 6 rounds of Swiss today. This is going to be the last round tomorrow, just before deciding the top cut. And then top 8 will get played tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. So if you guys are looking to see that action, you can see it again at the same time, same place here. Pretty excited. Pretty excited to see who makes top cut.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever actually caught what you say there. Do you say same bad time, same bad channel?
So same bat, like Batman. Same bat time, same bat channel.
What?
You've never heard like the old school Batman, like the bat line or whatever the heck it's called?
If I tell you I don't really like Batman, is that gonna be a problem?
I mean, all right, why? Give me a good reason why.
I'm just like not super into superhero stories, I guess.
Okay, all right. So if you're just generally not into superhero, oh yeah, didn't you say you didn't really watch a lot of the Marvel stuff too?
No, I watched all of the Marvel stuff that, like, all the blockbusters that came out over the last, like, 10 years or so. I definitely watched all of those, but they didn't really feel like superhero movies in the way that Batman does.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, especially old school. Like, what I'm talking about, that line came from old school Batman. Like, yeah, like 60s with the pow, wham,
I've never really been into, like, comics or anything like that either.
So we got Stygian Onlooker looking to be going in for an attack here, which is unfortunate because we do have the good old Celestial Bull on field as a blocker for that fearsome bird.
And one thing that's super cool is that the flight does function like Katarina, where the ephemeral does not matter. It's going to go back into the top portion of the deck anyway. Yeah,
awesome interaction with something like Stalking Shadows, so it kind of makes sure you can rely on that 1 mana Nightfall activator. And that's really important in this deck. I know I've said it a couple times now as to why I like Flight in this deck particularly, and we've talked about just liking Flight in general, but Nightfall, when you're playing this many Nightfall cards, something like Lunari Duskbringer and the Flight become absolutely crucial to this deck's success, because without those cards, you end up having to play Nightfall cards without them being activated just to activate other Nightfall cards, which we've seen this deck get into those situations before, and it never feels good.
I'm actually... Why am I doing this?
Oh, God. What now?
I went to Dyna's donation page, and I was about to throw him $5 and say, please prismaticize the rest of the deck.
Whatever card you're missing, just do it.
I don't know how many he's missing though. I know it's at least the flight and the. I don't think his. What's the 0 mana spell? Fading Memories. I don't think either of those were prismaticized, but I don't know if he's got more. I don't know if the donation would play up on screen, in which case it's not as funny. So
I'll donate to that fund. That sounds like a very good, a very good cause. I'm surprised he's got this much. I have like only a couple cards prismaticized. Like I don't.
Oh, I famously lost a bunch of money by going on Fight Night because I prismaticized both decks that I showed up with.
Oh God. Look, you trying to be a show off, Boulevard. That's what you get.
It's fine.
So as you can see here, we don't actually know if he's thinking about surrendering because I can't tell you what those say. Didn't you say you can read? Can you read?
I can read Korean,
yeah.
But by that I mean I can sound out the words.
By that you mean if I were to ask you and actually quiz you, you would not be able to give the answers.
No, I mean like I could sound it out for you, but I can't tell you what the word means.
Yeah. I gotcha. It's kind of like Spanish. Like I can understand everybody.
Yeah, like I can read
Spanish
because I can sound out the letters for you, but I cannot tell you what I am saying.
No, yeah, I can't think of the words out of thin air and try to make a Spanish sentence.
But that's Korean. I can't do Japanese. Not even close. I'm not even gonna try.
Well, Dino looks like he's trying to throw down a Nocturne right now, which, I mean, it just feels bad because DragonWrath is still sitting on 6 mana, and you're not actually getting use out of that vulnerable effect, but really, it's the only good play right now. I mean, you could go Flight into...
Flight's not terrible.
No, but, I mean, this is an aggro deck. You got to put the pressure on, baby.
And this does also level the Diana, so even if there is like an Obliterate spell coming down onto this Nocturne, I think actually the worst case scenario would be Meteor Shower, as it's going to take out both the Nocturne and the Duskbringer. But that's still 6 damage that you can put your opponent.
Wow!
This just reads like an insanely bad hand from DragonWrath, right?
And pay...
Or are we... Okay. Or, counterpoint.
Wow.
This is about to be Twisted Fate blue card into pick a card. Nope,
okay,
it's Star Shaping.
Okay. So it's a bad hand, and Star Shaping is the only hope in the world that DragonWrath actually has of staying in this game.
Yep.
So,
but that, I mean, we Veiled Temple on 4. We failed to proc it on 5. Things looking really good for Dyna, and now we have Unto Dusk on the Doom Beast.
Yep. Yeah, this feels real good. I mean, unfortunately, the Burblefish, though, is going to prevent something like this Flight from just, poking that 2 damage. I don't think, though, with an open attack, I don't think DragonWrath is going to have enough to actually respond to the entire field here of Dyna. This isn't Shadow Isle, so there's nothing like a Withering Whale, which would at least take care of the Flight and the Duskbringer. So you got to imagine a couple of these are going to hit. And if that's the case, we have 3 more damage in hand alone.
Oh.
Did we just Messenger Sigil?
We did, which I think we did because we no, actually we could have just thrown down the Burblefish for 3 mana, and the problem I have with Messenger Sigil is you are playing a Boxtopus deck with Crescendum, and now there are 5 Messenger and 3 Boxtopus in your deck.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really matters. I think that, that is just a surrender out of DragonWrath, just not finding anything in that game.
Yeah, I got to agree with Christian in chat, too, even said, pretty sure his hand is bricked, and I got to agree. The way that game played out and how quickly that surrender happened, it's like, especially the Star Shaping, it just reads brick. Play Star Shaping, see what you get, surrender. So
generally, like, there are certain decks where if they're floating 10 mana into combat and they don't have a board, you're like, okay, I'm about to get my board wiped here. Targon Bilgewater is not one of them. If they're just floating all of their mana, they don't have blockers, and you're going into combat, they have nothing. There is no thing that they could do to like stop your attacks at that point. They can like hush some attack away, and they can heal.
All right. Well, which color of Unto Dusk do we pick now, Boulevard?
Whichever one wasn't banned, and
Good
I would
choice.
guess that it's going to be Shurima.
I think so, too.
I can't imagine that the Slay aggro was banned and we left open Nightfall and Spiders.
Well, I feel like the strongest one is probably Shadow Isles Noxus. I mean, I guess you could argue the Nightfall, too. So, yeah, Shurima, I feel like Shurima is always left open.
Shurima is definitely the one that feels like I would not ban it. Like, it's not a consideration. It's between Spiders and Nightfall for me, yeah.
Yeah, so we do have the Shuriman version getting played here. Going to go up against the Aphelios TF deck again. And I got to say, I mean, yeah, this is definitely going to feel like, I think, a pretty hard matchup for Dyna. So, let's see here. It's still Spiders, too, in here. So, do we call it a Spider deck because there's Frenzy Skitterers?
Well, there's arachnoid horror. That's definitely a spider deck.
And arachnoid horrors.
Because what's not in here is sort of the indoor sacrificial package that we typically see. There's no ravenous butcher. There's no cursed keeper. There's no bladed caretaker. Those things are absent from this list. Instead, we go for a more fearsome package.
All right, taking some time. And, I mean, the Bakai Reaper feels pretty good here to get started. Stalking Shadows, generally you want to try to draw into that at a later point, but we got it back. So now, all right. Yeah, Dune Keeper. That is a clutch. Here we go. The one mana Decimate, right? You were just talking about this, Boulevard. This is the one mana Decimate, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are there are 6 1-drops in the list of DragonWrath, so this could actually just end up getting blocked, and that's, I think, why we're thinking about going for the Bakai Reaper.
This is risky.
But I'm going to lock in on the Sand Spinner, or the Dune Keeper. Which one's Sand Spinner?
Oh, see, okay, I love this choice by Dinah, and this is kind of just playing to the situation of the match so far, right? You're up a game. I think especially when you're playing an aggro matchup, you're 100% okay with taking a risk like that and running into a 1-drop, because if you don't, you get rewarded with a very quick start to this game, getting 4 damage in. So I love that play, and I mean, Dinah might get rewarded. We'll see how the next couple of turns play out.
And even if there was a 1-drop coming out of DragonWrath, Dune Keeper still pushes more damage than Bakai Reaper.
Yeah. Yep. At least for now, anyways. Yeah, until Bakai Reaper actually gets online a little bit later.
But so far, nothing out of DragonWrath for the first couple of turns. This is the turn where things could start to turn in their favor if we can get some kind of Aphelios play online, maybe start to get some Box-to-Puss out there, then we can really start to take over. But for the meantime, Dinah is just going to continue to go wide and thinking about throwing down the Skitterer despite there being no units on DragonWrath's board, just to go in, push as much damage as possible, because even if DragonWrath does throw down something this turn, it's got to be a fearsome blocker, which at this point I think is only either Box-to-Puss or Aphelios, in which case we're trading that for the Skitterer, and we're still pushing through 5 damage.
Yeah, it's always the consideration against Targon. It's like, do you automatically just go for the open attack because there's so much greater risk of them having a response if you develop? I gotta feel like the answer is generally yes. I mean, if a Box-to-Puss could come down and then there'd be like a Guiding Touch in hand that stuffs both of these potentially, it could just block the Arachnid Horror, and yeah, we're just going to take the damage. So this is, by turn 3, 9 damage coming down already to DragonWrath. Things are looking decent for Dinah, but the consideration, this deck, tons and tons of heal. We got 3 Guiding Touch, we got 3 Star Shaping. We'll see, plus not to mention, oh yeah, by the way, Aphelios has Severum. We'll see if DragonWrath's able to get a hold of any of those.
And we saw a Hush discarded out of DragonWrath. That's one of the cards just really not doing anything in a matchup like this. You might be able to take a little bit of attack off of something or take the fearsome tag away from something, but it's not the high value card that it would be against, say, a Nasus deck of a similar nature.
Yeah, what's like the best thing? Probably Bakai Reaper is literally the best thing that you'd wanna hush. Maybe a Mask Mother if it eats something big, which is only one of anyways. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm just realizing this. There is 3 of Bloodthirsty Marauder in here as well. Just to kind of add to those just 1-drops there. Yeah, like old school Legion Rearguard here.
Yeah, 12 1-drops in this list.
That's crazy. That is crazy, especially when 3 of them Stygian, and you generally are not going to play on turn 1 anyway. So there's really 9 1-drops, but wow. All right, I've yet to see a Bloodthirsty. Oh, never mind. There's 2. Just as I look back at the screen, there's 2 of them on screen right now, and we're going to go with the Doom Beast. God, it feels so good getting Stalking Shadows off Doom Beast, man.
It makes sense that we shuffle those away, though, right? Doom Beast is sort of... I don't think it matters which deck you're playing. If you are playing Stalking Shadows and Doom Beast is the ideal target. Yeah. I think the one exception was Stan's Timeline's Ladros that played Stalking Shadows.
Or Deep.
Deep doesn't play Doom Beast, though.
Deep doesn't play.
Wow. Random, where are you at? Hold on, Brazil, where are you at?
Oh, man. But yeah, no.
Speaking of Brazil, so LBR starts on Monday.
Yeah, very excited for that. Yeah, for anybody who hasn't been on this channel before watching our cast, we do the Liga Brasileira of Runeterra, the Brazilian Legend of Runeterra League, with all the best teams from Brazil. If you guys haven't heard, Brazil, last time I checked, pretty good at the game and beyond. Yeah, Yep.
Because the Madmen now are in the LBR.
Yeah, that's right.
They have an amount of Brazilian players though.
I believe so. Yeah.
Non-zero.
Yeah. And Madmen, one of the up and coming teams here. Lots of good players on the team. So very excited to start to see them as well. Oh yeah, is it? And then the Madmen event is coming up as well.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that.
Duels of Shurima was just announced again.
Yeah.
Well,
so we got
a packed month. It's gonna
lots to do.
There's absolutely no shortage of tournaments between now and the seasonal 5 weeks from now.
Yeah, absolutely not. So we'll see. I'll see how that all gets started here. But for now, we got Ruinous Path coming in hot from Dyna. Unfortunately, a little heal came through from DragonWrath though. So we're really riding the back of these Doom Beasts at this point.
Yeah, we're running into this problem where our hand is really Nightfall heavy, but unlike the actual Nightfall deck, we don't have great activators. And even if we were drawing 1-drops, none of them are as good as the Flight in terms of being a Nightfall activator. Like, if we were to draw I gotta find the list again, a Bloodthirsty Marauder here. Sure, it activates Nightfall, but outside of that, it's pretty useless.
Yeah, whereas the Flight in the deck that we just saw, right, is very useful, being an elusive unit. I'll gladly trade that 1 attack for elusive any day of the week. So I got to agree with you there, Boulevard. Looks like we're thinking about also just going all in on this fearsome strat here. I mean, this would be a significant amount of damage, yeah. And the thing with Doom Beast is, like, you don't want to actually develop the Doom Beast for an attack. They're really meant to close out the game. So there's no reason to play them. This is great.
And not only that, I mean, this is the problem where if DragonWrath can start to stabilize from here, Dyna doesn't have a lot of good Nightfall activators. We're probably going to see at the very least 1 useless Doom Beast, or maybe even a Lunari Priestess thrown down without Nightfall just as an activator.
No response.
There's a lot of damage coming through from Dyna.
Yeah, which means...
Actually, Lethal is currently represented.
We could have I mean, there's most likely a Star Shaping if I were to guess.
There's got to be something, right? Even Pale Cascade.
Guiding Touch.
Get us there.
I think wait, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. So yeah, Guiding Touch does it too. Technically Hush, you know, even though we mentioned doesn't have a huge use in this matchup. Could be a good option. What do we got? What's in the box, DragonWrath?
I mean, the good news is that if Dino loses, we do get to watch more of his lineup play.
Yeah. One of the few matches we are A-okay going to game 3. Like, I want to see a game 3. I'm cool with that. And I'm curious to see what was banned by Dyna of DragonWrath, too, so.
I would imagine Shenfiora.
Yeah, get that out of here.
Could be Trundleless. I guess either one is...
Is this... Oh, wow, okay.
Not the most ideal.
Wow, this actually, I think, is decent for Dyna. We just saw a Sunblessed Vigor and a Pale Cascade onto a Boxtopus just to get 1 blocker. That means most likely no Star Shaping, unless we're just trying to play out our hand and really hold on to the Star Shaping for later.
I mean, hanging onto the Star Shaping for burn does make a lot of sense. Now we're even going to get the Severum with the Boxtopus, but Dyna has the Glimpse Beyond. How many times have we brought it up, SJW? The ability of aggro to dodge lifesteal units is so good. DragonWrath has to go for the Severum Infernum combo, the way that Aphelios does have to play around this. Because if you give the unit lifesteal and overwhelm, your opponent can't dodge it. If they move the unit out of the way, you just hit face for the full value.
Yeah, we'll see what DragonWrath grabs here.
Really thinking about this.
Yeah, this is
it's rough. Gravitum's also a really reasonable grab.
Yeah, this Severum though. I mean, all right, we have Glimpse Beyond, which feels really good here, because there's no way DragonWrath doesn't go in for the attack now.
Well, if we grabbed Infernum, then we play another card. We Infernum the Boxtopus so that there's no play around for the lifesteal, and it's looking like that's what's happening.
Oh,
unless, I mean, the gun is in hand, but I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, it is the
oh man, that's a very heads up play.
You can see it on Dyna's face too.
Yeah. That was a look of disgust if I've ever seen one. That's so heads up though. I mean, that's very smart on the side of DragonWrath, knowing that, you know, that's what these decks try to do. If you're ever going up against a Shadow Isles aggro deck, that is
Noxus.
or Noxus for that matter. Well, oh yeah, with Noxian Fervor, yeah. So any aggro decks that are playing spells like that, you have to be cognizant of those spells that delete their units so that lifesteal doesn't go through. And Well, Overwhelm doesn't really give a heck about, you know, anything not being there for the attack anymore, so good play on the side of DragonWrath. And I think, at this point, I think Dinah is probably playing, or just checking the deck list to see what the outs are. Because I don't know. I don't know. After this goes through, because what, this is going to add another 2 attack, right?
Yep.
So 7, that's going to be 11. After 11 more damage comes through, even if there's no Guiding Touch or Star Shaping in hand, I don't think Dinah has enough to just push for game. I mean, we have 8 damage in hand, but I just don't think it's going to be enough.
We could always find a finisher off of the Lunari Priestess, right?
Yeah, okay, that's an option. It's definitely an interesting, that would be an interesting way for this game to end for sure. And it's funny too, there's only one Lunari Priestess in the deck, and that's almost entirely what this card is for, right? I mean, you don't generally get anything else with Lunari Priestess other than, you know, Great Beyond, Immortal Fire, something like that to close out the late game if you absolutely need it. But here we go. We're going to start this train of Doom Beast here.
We got 4 of them in hand. We got to play them out eventually, right? And I think next turn is when Dinah's going to try to go wide pre-combat and then see how much we can actually get done. Might actually just throw out a 1-drop here and then go for the open attack. But I don't like that as much as I think I like developing. But Dinah's the one with the cards in the hand.
All right, I mean, we have a Doom Keeper to go 6 wide and also be a Nightfall activator to get down to Doom Beast after the fact. So, I mean, more damage is going to come through. I don't think Callista changes anything.
I don't think so either.
Like, there's no world.
I don't think this, like, Callista's just coming down too late at this point to ever try to level her, right? Like, if you were playing a Blade Caretaker deck, I could see playing a little bit more towards the Callista, but at this point, it just feels kind of late. But Dinah, thinking about throwing her down early.
Oh, wait, never mind. I was looking at the wrong deck. So Diana Nocturne was the deck that's playing one Lunari Priestess. How did we get...
I think this was off of a
Unspeakable Horror. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, we actually just
still 2 of those.
Lucked into that. So
I thought that was this game, but I couldn't remember, and then you were saying it wasn't, so I just kind of rolled with it.
You know not to listen to me, Boulevard. What is wrong with you?
Otherwise, what are you good for?
All right, so actually opting to go with the Callista. So maybe just thinking we need a little bit more oomph behind our attack here. Gonna also try to attack with this Doom Beast, which, I mean, we still would have been punished with the TF if we developed with the Doom Keeper here. Which I actually
would have killed the Arachnoid Horror, I think.
Well, yeah, I think we would have went red card at that point, though, right?
Probably, yeah.
Because then it would have killed the Doom Keeper, the Sand Soldier, and the other Doom Keeper on field. Yeah. So that probably would have been the route to go. So maybe because of that gold card, this actually works out a little bit in Dinah's favor, but I still am not sure if we're going to be able to push enough damage. If DragonWrath has another unit, I definitely don't think it's going to happen.
And this is the ephemeral Doom Beast that Dinah's throwing out here, right?
Yep. Which makes sense because you're tossing it
Got
for an
my
attack.
hand placements right.
All right, so we put the Bakai all the way to the right.
Don't play that.
So that way we can get the slay effects if possible. The Aphelios or the Boxtopus would have to block that. And it's interesting too because what DragonWrath is going to have to try to calculate is how do I block with the Boxtopus or Aphelios, avoiding it dying to the Bakai Reaper? I think you could pretty easily do that with the Boxtopus.
It looks like Dinah's mathing it out and saying that my attacks just look so much better and my chances of burning my opponent out with Doom Beast are just that much higher if I overwrite this Callista for the Doom Keeper.
Yep, just to have as many attacks as possible. I don't hate it.
I didn't math it out. Dinah seems to have, so...
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, generally speaking, I feel like that's a pretty correct play in burn decks, where if you know that you're just going to be wider than your opponent, you just do it, and oh... That hurts. That's actually a big deal. And
the Aphelios levels.
That's I think going to be the difference maker here. I'm not sure.
Do you know what this means though, SJW?
We're going to get game 3.
We get a game 3. We're going to get to see a little bit more of this lineup.
Let's go, baby. Dinah, not disappointing, man.
Because none of these have Fearsome outside of the Bakai. But even then, all it takes is a a star shaping out of DragonWrath's hand, and we are in the clear.
Yeah, here we go. So we're going to get Box to Puss, yep, onto the Bakai. And this pushes a whopping 2 damage. Even with the remaining Doom Beast, we don't have enough reach.
No, but if we can draw a
Ruinous Path?
Unspeakable Horror,
Or Ruinous
that is
Path.
5 damage. And we don't need Nightfall and Unspeakable.
No, we do not.
It's probably not going to work out. I mean, anytime that you are trying to burn out a Targon player, it doesn't feel like a winning line, especially when they have all of their mana available. And DragonWrath should be able to stabilize and really start to take over the game from here with this Aphelios, with this Severum. Things are looking really rough for Dyna, who, I mean, just look at his face.
Yeah, that's another look of disgust here from Dyna. You know, it's right about now where I think he's wishing he could play Mark of the Isles on his opponent's follower. So that he wouldn't have to play it on his own just to trigger the Nightfall effect, which feels bad. Yeah, Severum going to come down, and that's going to put this game on a reach here. And this is the power of Aphelios if he does come down early in a matchup like this. Like, you can't. He is a beast at controlling the board. He has options to remove followers. You have options for lifesteal. We even see options for lifesteal to get around Glimpse Beyond with the Overwhelm. Like, there's just so many tools in his kit that a deck like this I just don't think can get around. And I don't think there was a way for Dyna to really ever deal with this Aphelios the entire game.
No, this is Aphelios' board now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that. We're even going to get the Severum Infernum combo again, continuing to play around any Glimpse Beyonds or anything like that coming out of Dyna, and you can see sort of the slow head shake there, understanding that this game is now gotten away from him, and that DragonWrath should be able to stabilize from here and eventually pick up the win. This is not a deck that has some wild draw power that's going to come out. There's no Trifarian Assessor style comeback where we just draw
Captain
cards.
Farron.
Once you've been choked out like this, you are completely choked out. The top end in this deck, I think, was Frenzied Skitterer. That's as high as we get. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, gotta love it.
And there's still a lot of dead.
Oh, there's a
top
right
decks,
in
too.
negation. Technically, that costs
I was waiting
more.
for the right in negation top deck. I was waiting for that top deck.
Wow, we're forced to. No, I think you just play the Mark of the Isle. I mean, this is gonna be the last turn you do anything. So I think you just play Mark, Stygian, Doom Beast, pray like your opponent disconnects.
If all of that goes face. Actually, I'm pretty sure that with the way things are lined up right now, if DragonWrath just blocks with his 2 units on field, he still does not die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go for the Lunari Priestess instead. We're only gonna have 6 mana left to play whatever Celestial we get out here.
Which I think, because there's only 6 left, I don't think you can go that line. Like, if we were on 10 mana and you could get Destroyer, I think you 100% go for that line. But
I think Destroyer just like dies to Aphelios. Actually, you haven't played any Celestials this game.
Good point.
It would just be a 7/7.
Yeah, good point. Actually, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, this isn't even a main decked Dustbringer. So, man, that feels bad.
Yeah.
So, Boulevard.
SJW.
I put on my list for when we do the final round of Swiss tomorrow, when we don't use. By the way, anybody who's in chat who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, we had points donated from previous tournaments in chat to have us cast an entire match or game, or I forget what it is exactly, but entire match.
Probably do it.
Not able to use any card names at all. We have to use all actors' names, anime characters' names, and video game character names only. And I started developing a little bit of a list. Whether or not Boulevard actually uses it, I don't know yet.
I'm not going. This list sucks.
What do you mean this list sucks? All right, I was gonna ask if. I mean, I feel like Aphelios is Keanu Reeves. Like, I feel like that's a pretty good.
I feel like we had this conversation before, and we agreed that like that's just not the
Well,
case.
somebody else argued Twisted Fate, I think, but.
Twisted Fate is Clint Eastwood to me.
But yeah, okay. Oh, Twisted Fate is Clint Eastwood. That's interesting. Because guess what I put Twisted Fate as, Boulevard?
I see that it's Clint Eastwood because you have no creativity and you just saw, oh, it's a cowboy. That's Clint Eastwood. My reason was much deeper.
Wow.
And it was that cowboy equals Clint Eastwood.
Wow. Really? Really? All right. Come on. I mean, that was a gimme, to be honest with you. All right, Boulevard.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
You gotta take your
Headphones
headphones out. More dope. All right, we're good. Anyways, and I actually thought this one was pretty. So another gimme, I think, is Jinx is Margot Robbie. I feel like that's pretty on point.
I
Like,
has she done any roles other than very specifically Suicide Squad and I guess Birds of Prey? That also came out, right?
yeah, they're actually. I think they're casting her for some other crazy role. They are casting her. Get this, they're doing at least. This could be like an internet is never wrong type thing. At least I saw this somewhere on the interweb. Apparently, a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot with a female Johnny Depp and a female Jack Sparrow, and it's Margot Robbie.
Why are we redoing? Isn't Pirates of the Caribbean like 15 years old?
I mean, yeah, but like there was this whole thing with
Can't we just write a different pirate movie?
Johnny Depp is like going to court and all that crap. So like I don't know what's going on with that now.
But why are we remaking it? It hasn't been that long.
I don't know, man. That's what
just
people
watch the
do.
old one.
That's what people do, man. That's what video games do. That's what movies do. They take a game and they resell it 20 times.
I know why Disney did it, but
well, yeah, they're they're Disney. I mean, that's like the new thing, man.
The actual reason, from my understanding, is that their copyrights were about to go to public domain, so they had to reuse them to reset the timer. No, for like all the animated movies that are currently getting redone live action.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, and
like a lot of them were about to become public domain, and they were like, we can't let that happen. We have to use them, so we're gonna remake a live action one.
Wow, that's pretty ridiculous if that's the case, but I totally believe it.
It is Disney, right?
Yeah. Oh man, coming from the guy who has never been to Disney World, Jesus Boulevard, what is wrong with you?
I mean, I think I talked about this on the last cast, right? About how I feel like a supervillain whenever I talk to people, because they're like, "Oh, what's like your favorite Disney princess?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't really like any of the Disney princesses. Those aren't really like the kinds of movies that I enjoy out of Disney." And like, that sounds like a supervillain thing to say. Like, it's perfectly reasonable as a 27-year-old person to just be like, "I don't really like Disney that much." Why do I feel like a bad person when I say it?
Oh man, and another gimme. Braum is Bruce Willis. Come on, they're both bald.
How is that a gimme?
They're both bald, man. Come on.
Braum is the Iron Sheik.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, in the Legends of Runeterra lore, but come on, man. We need a bald actor. All right.
Why do we need an actor?
Well, I don't know. I just only used actors for this for whatever reason.
Yeah, I noticed. You have no creativity.
I don't know. It was the easiest one. I'll probably use the video game character names and stuff for like, cards and stuff like that. But
do you know the name of the main character from Ninja Gaiden? Did he have
Jesus, no. I actually just beat that on my Switch too. Like
And you didn't even know the main character's name the whole time?
Couldn't even tell you. I just wanted to play it for the sake of like beating Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden.
I'm Googling it.
Main. Ryu Hayabusa. Oh man, I knew that. Now that I'm seeing it,
I was gonna say that Ryu.
Yeah, or Ryu. Yeah. Now that I'm seeing it, I can like picture it being typed out on my Switch's screen now because it
That's fair.
definitely typed out like 1,000 times. But man, we're like pro at like talking through
the end of Limbo.
Limbo. Yeah. Wow. I get that.
So for those of you that have never seen us cast before, Limbo is this term I've been trying to push for a while now, where it's sort of that.
It's a thing.
It's my name for that game state where the game is over. It's very clear who the winner is, and there's nothing the other player can do about it. But the game hasn't actually ended yet. You know, you still got like that 2 to 3 minutes before the player actually wins the game. That's Limbo.
Oh yeah, and it happens more often than you think. So we we like to entertain during those moments. We hope we do a good job. We hope you enjoy. But in the meantime, we are actually now getting into game 3 with the Unto Dusk deck number 3 going up against oh hey look, we haven't seen this deck in a while, and by a while I mean like 2 Swiss rounds barrier, which honestly I'm impressed that we could avoid it for 2 Swiss rounds.
Makes sense though, right? If you look at like the Lysandra Trundle list, which is what Dyna banned, 1 Avalanche just totally takes Dyna's current deck out of the game.
Oh yeah, yep,
everything dies to
100%.
You have 1 right of negation to try and play around that, but it's so much more likely that the Avalanche is going to come out super early on, followed by like another one, and you can't right of negation Bladed Ravine.
Nope. And again, just bringing up, I really like that you've been bringing that up today, Boulevard, because I do think that landmarks when landmarks first came out, we kind of thought, or at least me personally, like when I saw landmarks, they just kind of seemed like this like token that you keep on field, right? And it just gives you this effect for your region. Now they have countdowns and they leave after a certain amount of turns, and they have effects that happen that you can't counter.
So I actually, did you get a chance to look at this list? Do you see the cards DragonWrath has put on?
Okay, that's a witch. That's a young witch. Wait.
So we don't play Green Glade Caretaker. We play 3 Fleet Feather Tracker. We're only on 2 Protector because we've got 2 Young Witch in there as well. That's about where the spice stops. But the fact that like we got to see it as the first 2 cards.
You just debated me hardcore because the way that you were saying it was like, man, I got some more spice coming down the pipe, and you're like, and
nope,
that's it.
That's it. I mean, Young Witch is a card that, like, in theory, on paper, looks pretty good in Shenfior. Quick Attack is just as good, if not better, than Barrier in some situations. A lot of situations.
It's funny. Wait, maybe was somebody else in Fight Night playing Young Witch?
If you think I'm about to look through all the Shenfior,
I didn't know. I didn't know if you could recall. I
didn't watch.
I could have.
I watched a little bit, but
I could have sworn I saw somebody play a Young Witch early on in the game, and I probably just assumed it was like randomly generated by something. It didn't actually register that it was in the deck list, but this leads me to believe that it was in fact in the deck list. So
I'm trying to think of how you would even randomly generate that, because I think the only randomly generating card that we ever see is Swiftwing Lancer.
Yeah, Young Witch is like no special tags or anything either. She's 2 costs, so
just gonna straight up block this with the Fiora. Say I'm not taking any damage.
I mean, I don't hate it.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and I mean, all DragonWrath has to do is pass next turn, and Dinah can't develop. A 3-attack quick attack challenger is what is represented on DragonWrath's board right now.
Well, you know what?
And I think that they would love to just float Dinah's turn.
Well, you know what I think that represents for DragonWrath's hand too is I don't think we had the makings of a Fiora win con. So that leads me to believe there might not be something like a single combat in hand or a concerted strike. There might not even be a barrier in there. So that might be a good read for Dinah. But actually, that stinks if that's the case, because that means there's units, and those units are going to be able to block the onslaught of aggro units that Dinah is eventually going to come down with. So it's auto pick Doom Beast, right? It's auto pick Doom Beast, right? Maybe.
I mean, if we need to go wide around it, I could see taking the 1-drop here. But with our opponent at 20, we seem really far away from a go wide with 1-drops win con. And it's going to take any big push that you push through against Shenfiora, I'm going to assume decimates your board. You are in shambles after that. Maybe some of their units are damaged. Maybe even manage to get a trade or 2. But for the most part, you're not actually... And yeah, Dinah does not like to see that pass out of DragonWrath. It's going to be so hard to try and establish something like that, too. Anything that you play here, even Callisto, just dies to the Young Witch.
Yeah, that is not hot for Dinah. And you can't... Like, you can pass. I mean, you can bank the 3 spell mana and burn 2 mana, but now you're so far behind on board that I don't know if you ever actually... I mean, this Young Witch... with Fleet Feather Tracker, I think might be really bad for Dinah. Like, I think this might just be DragonWrath's game, because you don't deal with that, right? Like,
no,
there's actually nothing in the deck. All right, Unspeakable Horror deals with that, and there's only 2 of them, so we actually very strictly have to get Unspeakable Horror, and we can only develop on the attack turn here, like we're seeing, and this just feels so bad.
And there's no Nopify in the list of DragonWrath. Like, DragonWrath came prepared for these aggro decks. Mm-hmm. And it is paying off big here. Yeah, wow, that Young Witch, man, putting in work. And that's the other thing too, right? Like, you have the Fleet Feather Tracker. Well, I guess if you do the Unspeakable Horror, you would use it on the Young Witch. You don't really care too much about the Fleet Feather in general. But that Young Witch, man, is just doing work as a 1/1 elusive. Frenzied Skitterer pushes a little bit. I think what Dinah might need to go for, though, with the Frenzied Skitterer is possibly just going in for one big swing. The problem is we have to get rid of that Young Witch Fleet Feather combo before that ever becomes reality, because every time we develop units to the board, one is going to get picked off every single turn, in addition to DragonWrath probably developing a unit every single turn. And I don't know what Dinah could do to try and get rid of this combo, at least with the hand currently available. All right, there's the... I mean, you can tell Dinah, like, the look on his face, too, is just not... Yeah. He's just shaking his head over and over again, and, I mean, I feel the pain. Ooh. That is so rough. God damn. Now you have a fearsome blocker with barrier. You have... So you take 3 damage, essentially, here, and then you kill the other unit. That's crazy. Like, this is... I don't think this is ever a win for Dinah. This is a slaughter.
Yeah, this is bad.
Which is so funny to say because like DragonWrath has just been putting units on board and passing. He really hasn't done much this game.
Yep.
And it just looks so incredibly bad for Dyna, who's now going to lose another unit.
Oh my god, yeah. Another Fleet Feather too, Jesus. I mean, you can't do anything. Yeah, this is Young Witch single. I have seen the light, Boulevard. I have seen the light to Young Witch.
Not only that, but Fleet Feather Tracker. That is the cheapest challenger unit in the game. And it's doing so much here for DragonWrath, just being able to match Dyna on the ground.
I'm trying to remember the old Fleet Feather. Didn't it just come with Challenger?
Yes.
And then, all right, then it was made so that the unit had to get summoned afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And such a good unit. Yeah, this is. I am hurting for Dyna right now, because like I'm looking listen, I'm not gonna lie, like this is me on ladder though, and I feel like on ladder, like a lot of the time I'm just trying to save time if I ever do actually get a shot to play. So if I'm in a situation like this, like I'm surrendering, because I know unless I top deck, like he would have needed to have top decked an Unspeakable Horror like 2 turns ago for this to even be possible for Dyna to win, just to get rid of that Young Witch. Now that it's still just sitting around, I don't think you ever win. Even if you got it now, I think you're just too far behind. There's too much of a board established on the side of DragonWrath. I mean, hell, now we even have a River Shaper. Like, come on. Like,
yeah, and as we had mentioned in the previous game, Dyna doesn't have like a big over-the-top win condition. There's no Nasus in here. There's no like atrocity combo that we're gonna get to see come out. This Callista is the biggest unit in the deck. This Ruinous Path is the spell in the deck that does the most damage.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, no actual decimates, unfortunately. Man, what a feels bad game. You know, I was really pulling for Dyna, if only just because of the triple aggro lineup, but God, I gotta say, it feels bad that it's losing to Barrier, and not only that, but Barrier just with a tech Young Witch that literally just that Young Witch alone is winning this game. This is the card that has won the game for DragonWrath this incredibly easily.
I feel like it was Fleet Feather Tracker did something.
I mean,
you know, he's helping out.
Okay, but
Young Witch kind of sucked without Fleet Feather.
It's a symbiotic relationship, all right, Boulevard, and I don't use that word often. All right,
I don't even know what that means. This is a great opportunity for you to teach me some grammar, SJW. What the hell did you just say to me?
Something with like this little fish that sucks on a shark for a little while, and like they need each other.
Parasitic?
No, no, they're.
You look me in the eye, tell me Venom's not a parasite.
Okay, well, Venom's a parasite, but
that's a symbiote. That is a symbiotic relationship if I've ever seen one.
Oh wait, is parasitic and symbiotic kind of?
I mean,
they're not straight up synonyms, right? No,
I don't think so. But when you described that to me, it sounded like a parasite.
Oh, you don't actually know what symbiotic means? Symbiotic is you need each other to exist, essentially. So parasitic is one person is using the other person to exist, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like one's bad and one's good is the idea there.
I wouldn't say one of them's good, because the only example I know of a symbiotic relationship also comes from a parasite.
I'm gonna find it.
It's kind of graphic, so I won't get into it.
The one I'm thinking of is a shark. Like there's this little fish that eats the bacteria off of like the ass of a shark or something like that.
Like what are the things that like stick to whales? It's not krill, because they eat krill. Something else.
Remora? Because that's what sticks to a shark. I just looked it up. It's called a remora.
Sure.
A remora has a symbiotic relationship with a shark. Hilo's got my back in chat. Let's go. Biology 101 in session with Runeterra. We actually do learn a lot on this stream. I'm just saying. All right, Google is a awesome tool, ladies and gentlemen. Use it. All right.
Morp's asking if we listened in biology. Look, there's this cool thing where if something is irrelevant as hell, you just lose it after 10 years, and this shit has never come up. And will never come up again.
What's biology again?
Biology is... I was trying to think of a funny way to describe it, and I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, see, Hilo, where they both benefit from each other. Parasitic is one only benefits, the other does not, and probably negatively benefits, so... All right, Remora. Now that I realize that I randomly kept that somewhere in the back of my brain for absolutely no reason. Gotta love those random facts you pick up.
Yeah.
And right now, the random fact that I'm picking up is that Young Witch absolutely bodies aggro.
Second, this is only the second Golden Aegis out of DragonWrath. Like, he only plays 2 copies of this card, and it is just a complete and utter disaster for Dyna. We can't even go for the attack here. There are 2 fearsome blockers with barrier. Our opponent is still at 13. Whoop-de-doo, we picked up Rite of Negation. And Mark of the Eye, like, this just feels like Dyna's deck is completely crumbled on him.
Yeah, Dyna... Well, did it, or did Young Witch make it crumble? It's all the Young Witch, baby.
I don't know what kind of spells she's out here casting, so that's not out of the question.
She's mixing something up in her cauldron.
And, like, even this attack from... Or even this Frenzied Skitterer from Dyna, like, you can see him shaking his head there, because if you throw that down, then DragonWrath just comes at you with a Fleet Feather that's buffed up by Shen, because the Shen is leveled, gets to pick apart more of your board. We still have 2 fearsome blockers with barrier.
Wow.
This is a complete and utter disaster.
Yeah, this
We're
is...
going to pick off a second unit as well, because Young Witch gives an attack.
So this is what I was talking about earlier, where really the only shot we have is a giant attack with Frenzied Skitterer, but even this is so lackluster.
Every time Dyna has been able to mount something that looked similar to an offense, something comparable to an offense, where you could look at that and say, I can see what he's going for here, DragonWrath just had the rally.
Yep. Yeah.
And the barrier on top of the rally means so much in terms of being able to control the board here.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for Dyna, that was the last Golden Aegis. It's not like DragonWrath is going to kill you here. But yeah, looking at these attacks, looking at 2 barriered up blockers. This, okay, I was like, does he have another one? But no, it's just single combat.
Yeah, and that is gonna wrap things up here.
You know Dyna's gonna hate us after this, right? We get to go and spectate one of his matches, and this is what he gets.
The Caster Curse. The one and only. And alright, riddle me this, Batman. This is the longest game of the entire round. The longest match. This is 3 aggro decks. And this is the longest match of all. Look at Dyna. Dyna's so tilted off the Shen emote. Did you see? I think you were looking at the screen. He made fun of the Shen emote and like did a little put his hands together and like shook his head. Oh man. Yeah, I don't understand how 3 aggro deck lineup actually went this long in the round. It's really unfortunate. But yeah. Is going to be GG's for Dyna. Finally got the Unspeakable Horror, just a tad bit too late. And gonna beat the dead horse literally and give him the most useful Nightfall card you can think of in Dusk Rider. Dyna getting taken down there 2-1.